Gaffer, another away game, another tight turnaround. How are the lads this morning?
Well, it's very early, so I haven't seen them all yet. They haven't actually arrived. So, yeah, we know it's a quick turnaround. Not a lot of preparation time, not a lot of rest time. It happens when you have that Wednesday night fixture. Really, it sort of doesn't fit right with you, really. But when you look at it, I know it's the third game in the week, and there's been more travelling, but it's more like a Saturday, Tuesday, if we gauge Wednesday night as our Saturday. So we have to look at it that way a little bit, but not too much preparation time, but hopefully enough time to get the lads somewhat prepared for the third game in a week, really.
It's another away game as well. How do the lads kind of prepare and cope for that?
Well, you can't prepare the travelling in them. You know, going to Carlisle, coming back, going up to Wigan, coming back, going over to Doncaster. You can't prepare for that. It's not an ideal week for us as regards all of that. But we'll prepare as best we can. There's not a lot more you can do. You've got to look after them. You've got to make sure that they understand, they know what they're doing, what the game plan is in a short period of time. So you have to, rather than going into so much detail, you hopefully can get in what are going to be the real relevant points of the game.
You mentioned post-match, the Wigan team would have experienced that last-minute euphoria, last-minute winner.
Yeah.
We experienced that against Charlton.
Yeah.
We've also been on the flip side, of course, in the last game.
Yeah.
How do the lads mentally cope with that, and how important is it to kind of leave that game in the dressing room and go into the next one?
Well, we had to leave it in the dressing room the other night. You know, we won't have time to dwell on it today or anything like that, and nor do we want to dwell on it. So, you know, it's a tough one to take. You know, from my point of view, I would spin it in a way to the lads that we've got to try and take the hurt from that game into the next one, and be doubly determined. That's how I will sell it to the lads.
Doncaster, another day's rest for them, but what have you seen in your analysis of them this season?
Very little at the moment, if I'm brutally honest. I mean, obviously yesterday was the first time that we've looked at them, and it's very difficult because now they've obviously changed manager, and you're trying to see if there's too many differences. I would probably know more about what they would do if Richie Wellens was in charge, because I would have seen more of them. That's changed slightly, and we looked at them obviously yesterday and in more detail, and we'll follow that up again this morning.
You had to make a couple of substitutions in the last game. How were those lads, and how are the other kind of injured lads progressing?
Not quick enough. That's what they're not progressing with, not quick enough. So, yeah, I mean, a couple of substitutions the other night that we could have done without, but there's nothing you can do about that. You know, when you get to play, when you're travelling on the bus for a long time, let alone the time that they still have to come into training when they're in the car, when they're out on the training ground, and the pitches all of a sudden, we've had an enormous amount of rain all around the country in the last week. It's not just our team that will be suffering with a catalogue of injuries. You've seen some of the players higher up that have been suffering with them as well. So there's a change in the temperature, which means you've got to make sure before they go out and warm up that they're wrapped up and their body temperatures are up before they go out. And then when they do the warm up, you've got to make sure that they do the warm up properly. That's not to say that the boys the other night didn't do the warm up properly. They did, but they've just played on a very, very heavy pitch at Carlisle. Lots of travelling, sitting down on the bus is not ideal for all your muscles as well. So just a tough period of time at the moment that we've got to get through.
Like you said, you haven't seen all of the lads this morning, but did everyone else come through the game okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.